Text 38 of the 10th canto, chapter 29. Krishna and the gopis meet. Tana prasida vrigida nardana tingrini mulam. Tana prasida vrigina tingrini mulam. Prapta visrijya vasitis tvadupasanasha. Tvad sundara smita nirikshana tivra kama. Taptatmanam purusha bhushana dehi dasyam. Tanna prasida vrijinardana te nigrimulam. Prapta visrijya vasatis tvadupasanasha. Tvatsundara smita nirikshana tivra kama. Taptatmanam purusha bhushana dehi dasyam. Sure. Prasida vijinarda te nigramulam. Prapta vishrija vasatis tvadupasanasha. Tvatsundara smita nirikshana tivra kama. Taptatmanam purusha bhushana dehi dasyam. Tana prasida vrijinardana te nigrimulam. Prapta vishrijya vasatis tvadupasanasha. Tvatsundara smita nirikshana tivra kama. Taptatmanam purusha bhushana dehi dasyam. Prapta vishvijya vasatis tvadupasanasha. Tatmana purusha bhushana dehi dasyam. Tana prasida vrijinardana te ngriyalam. Prapta visvijya vasatis tvadupasanasha. Vatsundara smita nirikshana tivra kama. Taptatmanam purusha bhushana dehi dasyam. Na prasida vijinardana te nigrimulam. Prapta visvijya vasati stvadupasanasha. Tvatsundara smita nirikshana tivrakama. Taptatmanam purusha bhushana dehi dasyam. Tanna prasida vijinardana tengri pulam. Prapta visrijya vasati stvadupasanasha. Tvatsundara smita nirikshanati vakama. Anyone else? Tat. Therefore, naha, to us, prasida, please show your mercy. Vidvina, of all distress. Ardana, O vanquisher. Te, your. Angrimulam, feet. Prapta, we have approached. Visrija, renouncing. Vasatihi, our homes. Tvat upasana, the worship of you. Asaha, hoping for. Tvat, your. Sundara, beautiful. Smita, smiling. Nirikshana, because of the glances. Tivra, intense. Kama, by the lust. Tapta, burned. Atmanam, whose hearts. Purusha, of all men. Bhushana, O ornament. Dehi, please grant. Dasyam, servitude. Therefore, O vanquisher of all distress, please show us mercy. To approach your lotus feet, we abandoned our families and homes, and we have no desire other than to serve you. Our hearts are burning with intense desire, generated by your beautiful smiling glances. O jewel amongst men, please make us your maidservants. Please repeat. Therefore, O vanquisher of all distress, please show us mercy. To approach your lotus feet, we abandon our families and homes. We have no desire other than to serve you. Our hearts are burning with intense desires, generated by your beautiful smiling glances. O jewel amongst men, please make us your maidservants. When Sri Krishna was born, the sage Garga predicted that he would manifest all the opulences of the Supreme Lord Narayan. The gopis now appeal to the Lord to fulfill this prediction by being merciful and granting them direct service, just as Lord Narayan always direct service to his loving devotees. The gopis emphasized that they did not give up their families and homes with the hope of securing a higher pleasure from Krishna. They're simply begging for service revealing their pure-hearted devotion. The gopis think, if in the course of your pursuing your happiness, we somehow or other become happy by seeing your face, what is the harm in that? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on the words, Purusha Bhushana, O jewel amongst men. The Thakur states that the gopis meant to say, O jewel of all males, please decorate our golden bodies with the dark blue gems of your limbs. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gina Gina Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Gina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Muktam Karoti Vachalam Pangulangai Tegirim Yat Vikra Paratan Tamahan Bande Shri Gurum Dindatarine. So we're arrived at the 10th canto, the smiling face of Krishna. And this is described by Vedavyas that of all the Puranas and all the Vedas, Nigam Kalpataror Galitam Phalam, that this 10th canto is the ripened fruit of all the Vedic literatures. And here we have in the 10th canto that we're tasting this most delectable fruit of all the various Vedas, the activities of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Of course, the materialistic, as Prabhupada calls them, materialistic men, duskritinas, they have no taste for hearing the glories of the Lord. Svavid varahustakarai samstuta purusha pushu. They're like dogs, hogs, asses, and camels. So in the beginning cantos, first, second canto, this is from the second canto, Sukadeva Goswami is denouncing these materialistic people as hogs, dogs, hogs, asses, and camels. Nayat karna patope tu, jatu nama gadagaja. They never want to hear the transcendental activities of the Lord, Sri Krishna, nor can they understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead is actually lying in the lap of Mother Yashoda. That the Supreme Absolute Truth, Vadanti tat tadva vidas gyatjnanam tadvamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti shabdyate, that the Lord is a person and gradually is being revealed to us by unalloyed devotional service as we aspire to that, this is the greatest fruit, is this prema, this love for Krishna, which is dormant within our hearts. Prema maharta pumarta mahan, that this love of God is being awakened. This bhakti lata is being awakened, shravanam kirtanam, by hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord. So first we understand that this is the internal potency of the Lord. Krishna, foolish people may think that he's just an ordinary person. Avajananti mamudha manusham tanum ashritim. That they're thinking that, oh, who is this Krishna? Prabhupada says that even when Krishna walked on this planet and had his various pastimes, many persons thought that, oh, he's a great personality. But few have been are allowed to enter into the mysterious, loving pastimes of the Lord. That is only revealed to the pure devotees of the Lord. Name prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha mudhoyam nabijanati mamebhya paramavyayam. I don't reveal myself to the foolish and less intelligent. By my Maya potency, they cannot understand who he really is, who he is. Now the gopis here, Krishna was dancing with them in the forest of Vrindavan, right here in Vrindavan. 5,000 years ago, the Supreme Lord is dancing with his pure devotees. And of all the devotees of the Lord, the gopis have the transcendental position of being embraced by the beautiful serpentine arms of the Lord. And they're deriving great pleasure. Of course, the gopis, they got a little bit proud. They're thinking, we're so special. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his Leela of cleansing the Gudicha Mandir, this is a metaphorical example that we have to keep our hearts very clean and become freed from these desires to think that we're so important. Pratishta and puja. These are different contaminations, like little bits of dust within our heart. Pratishta, we want some prestige, some position, social position amongst devotees. Or puja, we want people to worship us, we want followers, right? Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. Na janam. We don't want, Lord Chaitanya doesn't want any of these things. So, as our hearts become purified, like the gopis, of course they were a little bit proud, so Krishna abandoned them during the Rasa Leela dance. Radharani had already left the arena of the Rasa dance, and she'd entered into the forest, and Krishna was feeling a little bit abandoned. Radha and Krishna are always hankering for each other. This is exemplified by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Antya Leela in his last 12 years in Jagannath Puri. He was experiencing this taste of separation that Radharani tastes, this fathomless experience of feeling separation from Krishna. And he exhibited these bodily symptoms of love of God and separation. Sometimes his body would become like a tortoise, and his limbs would go inside of his body out of ecstatic feelings of separation for Krishna. He was completely tasting. Krishna is, of course, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the mood of Radharani. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nohe Anya. And he was tasting this great separation, and devotees were looking for him. Where is he? And they found him near the Garuda Stamba, near the gate, the front gate, near the cows of Tailanga. They found Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there in a state of ecstatic separation in love of God. So these things are exemplified that Krishna appears in the mood of Radharani, who is the most compassionate, and he is giving freely this ecstatic feelings of love for Krishna. This is the ultimate goal of life. So here the gopis in the forest of Vrindavan, they're speaking to Krishna. Oh, vanquisher of all distress. Radharani, one time, Jatila, she noticed that Radharani, of course Radharani every day was going to the house of Maharaj Nanda and bringing Krishna wonderful prasad, wonderful sweets and so on, like mundaka and ladus and other sweets. And Jatila, the mother-in-law of Radharani, she became a little suspicious. And so she hatched a plot with her daughter Kutila that we won't allow Radharani to go to this cowherd boy's house anymore. So they prohibited Radharani from leaving the house. And it states that Radharani, not seeing Krishna even for a moment, when her eyelids flash, when her eyelids close for a moment, she feels so much separation from Krishna that she'd be burning in the fire of separation. What to speak of a whole day of going without seeing the son of Maharaj Nanda. So she was lying on the ground and she was burning up in the fire of separation. This is the mood of the gopis when they can't see Krishna. What is the gopis? All the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami describes that when Narada Muni came to Vrindavan and Krishna left, it said that the place looked like an abandoned, like almost like the Brahma Jyoti. All the inhabitants of Vrindavan were were completely devoid of any life. They felt lifeless. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitamam vishame bhavam buddho. The devotees are feeling such separation from the Lord at a moment is like 10 years or more. So Radharani was lying on the ground, burning up out of separation from Krishna. And Krishna himself was also not feeling the same. Mother Yashoda noticed that although Rohini would bring prasad for Krishna, it wasn't the same as Radharani's cooking. Durvasa Muni, of course, had given a benediction to Radharani that whatever she cooked would be unparalleled, and whoever ate this prasad, this foodstuffs created by Radharani, they would have a very long life and be very healthy. So Mother Yashoda was very worried. Why has Radharani not come to cook for Krishna? What's going on? And so she sent Nandamukhi to the house of Jatila, Abhimanyu's house, to find out what was happening. Nandamukhi. And so when she went to see Radharani, Radharani was lying on the ground. And Mother Yashoda had requested that Radharani could make some sweets and Chandramukhi could bring it back to the house of Mother Yashoda. But Radharani was so unconscious, so the gopi, Chandramukhi, she whispered in Radharani's ear, "Oh, Krishna's here, Krishna's here." So Radharani immediately came to consciousness and she started cooking for Krishna. But they hatched a plot, Vishaka and Lalita hatched a plot that we will make some kind of a scheme so that Krishna can visit Radharani. So this is described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in one of his writings. Krishna disguised himself as a female doctor, Vidyavali. So Vishaka and Lalita visited Abhimanyu's house, and they whispered something in Radharani's ear. And Vishaka came running out and telling Jatila, "Oh my gosh, Radharani has been bitten by the king of serpents. She saw a jewel under the tree and she thought it was her jewels. And when she put her hand there, the snake, who had a jewel on his head, bit Radharani's hand, and now she's burning up with poison. What can be done?" So Jatila said, "Let us go and ask Purnamasi. She knows various mantras given by Garuda. She is acquainted with Garga Muni, and these mantras will save Radharani." So the story goes on that Gargi, the daughter of Garga Muni, Jatila approaches Gargi and says, "Do you know the mantras for saving snake bite, from antidote for snake bite?" And Gargi says, "No, but I have a sister who was just visiting me from Kashi. She's married to a high-class Brahmin, and her name is Vidyavali." So enter Vidyavali, Krishna disguised as a gopi doctor. And she tells Jatila, "I have mantras within my throat which can cure the poison of snake bite." So Jatila is begging, "Oh, my daughter-in-law, she's suffering so much, she's going to die, please come and save her." So they go to the house of Abhimanyu. And Krishna, he enters the room where Radharani is. And he says, "Jatila, you don't mind, but I'm chewing some tambula leaves, and I have to transfer them to the mouth of the patient." And Jatila says, "That's inappropriate. This is my daughter-in-law. How can you take some chewed material and put it in her mouth?" But Gargi intervenes and says, "In the case of medicine, it transcends any kind of rules and regulations of human conduct." So Krishna then transfers in the form of Vidyavali, in the garb of Vidyavali, disguised Vidyavali transfers this tambula leaves into the mouth of Radharani. And as Krishna touches Radharani, her body starts exhibiting symptoms of love. And as Krishna touches her body, and he's saying, Vidyavali is saying, I have to detect where the poison is on her body. And these wonderful pastimes are going on. And Vishaka and Lalita are standing in the back and they're giggling because Krishna is up to his tricks again. And then Vidyavali says, this poison is too intense. I'll have to summon the king of snakes and inquire from him and consult with him how I can relieve her of this poison. I want to know the reason why he bit Radharani. So everyone, you please leave the room, and I'll bring the snake here by uttering mantras. So the when everyone leaves the room, Vidyavali, who is Krishna, he imitates the voice of the snake, and he's speaking like a female doctor, Vidyavali. He said, well, my dear snake, where did you come from? And the snake says, I came from Mount Kailash. And who sent you? Lord Shiva has sent me. And why? Lord Shiva is very offended. Jatila has committed 2 great offenses. The first offense is that she has offended Durvas Muni, who's an expansion of Lord Shiva. How did he do that? Well, Durvasa Muni gave a benediction that Radharani, her cooking, would please everyone, and that she is the most chaste of women. And now Jatila is questioning her chastity. And the second offense is that Jatila is also doubting the purity of the son of Maharaj Nanda. So what kind of offender is she? I am going to cause her great pain by biting her daughter-in-law, and when her son comes here tomorrow morning, I will also bite him. And that burning fire of pain is far more than if I bit her personally. So Jatila is hearing these things from the other side of the door, and she starts crying and wailing and saying, oh, I've offended Lord Shiva. I've offended Durvasa Muni. How can I ever be forgiven? And then she starts condemning her daughter. That Kutila, she's just a devious person, and she's always causing trouble to Radharani. From now on, she can't say anything to my daughter-in-law. And from now on, my daughter-in-law can go anywhere she wants at any time. In this way, Radha and Krishna, they came together and had wonderful pastimes and gladdened the hearts of the gopis. So these are all descriptions by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Rupa Goswami has also written beautiful exchanges between Radha and Krishna. And these are the most intimate aspects of pure devotional service. As Krishna tells Arjuna, Arjuna was standing on the battlefield, and we know that Krishna showed his Virat Rup, his transcendental universal form. And within that form, Arjuna could see all the various beings, all the demigods, the yakshas, the Gandharvas, the Apsaras, the inhabitants of the lower planets. The entire universal form was demonstrated to Arjuna, who thought that Krishna was just his friend. And Arjuna's hair stood on end. But Arjuna became a little bit fearful by the Virat Rupa, and so eventually Krishna reduced himself and exhibited his 2-armed form of Shyamasundar. And then he tells Arjuna, Naham Veda na tapasa, nadanina nachejaya. This form that you're seeing here, my transcendental form of Shyamasundar, It cannot be attained by the study of all the Vedas, Naham Veda Na Tapasa, or by the mystic performances of yogis, Na Danina, or by giving great amounts of charity, or Ijja, by worship. Even by worship, I won't reveal myself. Bhaktistu ananyaya shakya amevam vidorduna. Gatum jastrum chachatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. He tells Arjuna, you can only see this form. You can enter into the mystery of my understanding only by pure, untarnished, unmotivated, uninterrupted, right? Only by this kind of pure devotional service, uninterrupted, can you enter into the mystery of my understanding. That the Supreme Absolute Truth is here having his transcendental Leela with the gopis. And when he plays on his flute, his transcendental flute, it enters into the ears of the gopis, and they start running out of their homes, abandoning their children, abandoning their husbands, and they're running into the forest. Where is this beautiful cowherd boy whose form is so beautiful and whose complexion is like a heavy rain cloud? Where is he? Where is Krishna? I'm looking for Krishna everywhere. This is what we're aspiring for. This is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as Mahavadanyaya Avatar. He's giving it freely. He's drowning everyone. When he came and danced in Navadvip, in Nadia district, he was dancing with the Panchatattva, and those who were fit or unfit would drown in this ocean of pure love of God. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Sandasa Devuridi Yoshi Vilokayanti. Yam Shamasundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam Govinda Mari Purusham Tamam Bhajami. Devotees of the Lord, by engaging, by surrendering themselves, Matchita Sarva Durgani, Mat Prasada Tarishyasi. Krishna says, become conscious of me. Matchita, Madgata Prana, Bodhayantas Parasparam. Katayantas Chamam Nityam Tushyanti Charama. Devotees, all they want to do is glorify Krishna 24 hours a day. Be conscious of me, Krishna says. Tasmat sarvashu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Tells Arjuna, you're a warrior, yudhyacha. You go ahead and fight, but don't forget who you're fighting for. Mamanusmara yudhyacha. Think of my form. The gopis here, they're thinking of Krishna. And when they hear Krishna's thunderclap voice, when they hear Krishna's joking words, when they hear Krishna's flute playing, when they hear the tinkling of Krishna's bodily ornaments, these four features enter into their ears just like a cuckoo taking nest. Rupa Goswami writes, these four sounds enter into the ears of the gopis just like a cuckoo making a nest in their ears. They're not able to hear the calling of their husbands and relatives to come back from the forests of Vrindavan. Come back, come back. So in this way, the gopis are addressing Lord Krishna here, O vanquisher of all distress, please show us mercy. They're burning in the fire of separation. To approach your lotus feet, we abandoned our families and homes, and we have no desire other than to serve you. That's the direct opposite of materialistic life. Prahlad Maharaj says, Naivod Vijay Para Duratya Vaitaranyam Twadvirya Gayana Mahamrita Magnachita. My dear Lord Nishingadev, I'm always conscious of you. I really don't need anything, not sochati, nor do I lament about anything. However, sochetato vimukata artam maya sukayam baram udvahato vimudha. My only lamentation in life is that I see all these fallen, all these conditioned souls, all these beings in this world, and they're caught up in bara. Bara means family, society, friendship, and love. Pumsos trio maitani bhavametam tuyoreva hridaya grantimahu. The big knot in the heart. Everyone's trying to enjoy like Krishna, but they have no capacity. Krishna is unlimited. Advaitam achyutam anadam ananta rupam. He's unlimited. How can you enjoy like Krishna? You have this body made of tridhatuke, made of 3 elements, which is full of misery. You can't enjoy like Krishna. Don't try. But they're caught up, this knot in the heart. They're caught up with this big knot. My wife, my family, my children, my society. Barod, society, friendship, and love. All temporary, isn't it? All temporary. It's about to go. Just like in a moment, in a flash of lightning, everything is gone. As Krishna tells Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Abhama Bhuvanaloka Punaravirtino Jana. Mamupercha Punar Janma Naiti Mametu Surjana. So, from the lowest planet even up to Lord Brahma is nothing but a place of misery. Dukhalayama Shashvatam. And here, the gopis are exemplifying what it means, pure love of God, what it means, what is the goal of human life, pure love for God. And they're burning with intense desires generated by the beautiful smiling glances of Krishna. Rupa Goswami describes, and it's quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Krishna's glance is just like arrow, just like the arrows of Cupid. And it's piercing the doe-like hearts of the gopis. His smiling is like the string on the bow of his face, and that his eyes are like the arrows which pierces the doe-like hearts of the gopis and renders them inert. So these are beautiful poetry described by the great devotees of the Lord, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami. They're all empowered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to study all the Vedic literatures, Nana Shastra Vichara Naika Nipano Sadharma Samstapako, Lokanam Hitakarano Chabhuvane Manyo Saranya Karo. That the 6 Goswamis, they studied all the revealed scriptures and brought us so many beautiful writings. Rupa Goswami wrote 100,000, he composed 100,000 shlokas, 100,000 verses describing the beautiful, most confidential aspect of devotional service. And that's being given to us by our great Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. Nikunjayonu Ratikaila Siddhaya. He's also very expert assisting the gopis in the conjugal loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna. That is what the great Acharyas do. Internally, they're serving the gopis, they're assisting the gopis, even as cows or trees, wish-fulfilling trees. They supply whatever Krishna wants to please the gopis and the other inhabitants of Vrindavan. The Sarabi cows, they supply whatever abundance that the devotees want to serve the son of Maharaj Nanda, the prince of Vrindavan. And the gopis are mesmerized. All the inhabitants of Vrindavan are mesmerized by the extraordinary beauty of Krishna. Rupa Goswami describes 4 qualities out of 64 that Krishna has, unique to Krishna, that he's always seen playing on his flute. Krishna is always accompanied by his flute. And he has extraordinary beauty, extraordinary beauty. If one was to see Krishna, we would faint. Arjuna, when he saw Krishna, his hair stood on end. And he's always surrounded by unique, loving devotees in tasteful relationships. It's like the soul is hankering for this nectar, this ras. Ras means flavor. Flavor of conjugal love, flavor of vatsalya. Where Mother Yashoda is thinking, how can I maintain my son? And Krishna derives such great pleasure when Mother Yashoda ties him up with ropes and ties him to the mortar for grinding grains. she's feeling this motherly, protective nature. That's Vatsalya Ras. And Sakya Ras, where the cowherd boys are playing leapfrog with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They're actually jumping on his back, and they're playing with him. These things are going on eternally here in Vrindavan, so hopefully one day we can actually see these things with our own eyes. But within in the heart of hearts of the great devotees, they're always observing and assisting, just like Ramananda Roy, he was, Ramananda Roy was externally, we know that he was the governor of Madras, and he was in the male form, but it's described by, I'll have to turn this thing off. Excuse me. Yeah. So Ramananda Roy, great devotee of the Lord, Srila Prabhupada said that not so many personalities were allowed to enter into the most confidential aspects of this conjugal relationship. Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar, they would recite various beautiful descriptions of Krishna in Vrindavan with the gopis from Ramananda's writings and writings by Jayadev Goswami and writings by Suradas, Bilvamangal Thakur, Krishna Karnamrita, and so on. And when Pradyumna Mishra, a very high-standing Brahmin caste, wanted to hear about pure devotional service and so on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I don't know anything. Only if you want to know the most intimate aspects of pure devotional service, you have to approach Ramananda Roy. And the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him to hear from Ramananda Roy. And Ramananda Roy, he was preparing some dancing girls, young youthful girls, Devi Dasis. He would prepare them by massaging their bodies and preparing them and teaching them how to dance for Lord Jagannath. And his mind remained like stone or wood. So this is the symptom of pure love of God. Vacha vegam manasakroda vegam jiva vegam udarupasta vegam hetan vegam yo vishaheta dira. Dira. That although externally he seemed to be a male, internally he was obviously an assistant to the gopis, and he was training these Devi Dasis how to dance for Lord Jagannath, Krishna, like that. So Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra, one should not think that one can not really detect. It's very difficult to understand the mind and heart of a pure devotee of the Lord. Very difficult. So here, these pastimes are certainly discarded or rejected by persons sometimes as merely immoral activities of the Lord, that Krishna is simply a debauchee and so on. So first they have to understand the feet of the Lord. They have to start with the first canto, then the second canto, and go on through all the cantos until they come to the smiling face of the Lord, and then understand these are the, in the spiritual world, God is not sitting there just, with a big white beard, sitting there and condemning people for their sins. That's a very, rudimentary idea of God. No, Krishna says, Maya tatamidam sarvam, I'm spread everywhere, and yet I'm independent of it. So although he's everywhere, adanchara cha paramano chantarastam, in every atom between the atoms, not a blade of grass moves without his desire. At the same time, by his Shakti, Sarvasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shriyate Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha, he's in the spiritual world, having eternal pastimes with his devotees. And simultaneously, he is in everyone's heart. Sarvasichaham Ridishani Vishto. So, he comes to exhibit these beautiful pastimes of his activities in the spiritual world, once in a day of Brahma. And he's doing that basically to attract devotees, the pious, right? Parichanaya sadhanam vinashaya, to attract those who are little pious back to the spiritual world. Esha tu antakatam papam jananam punya karmanam. After many, many punyas, after many, many pious activities, te dvandva moha nirmuktam bhajanti mam drudarataha, devotees surrender to the Lord, surrender to his representatives, and go back home, back to Godhead. So, here we are, reading about the gopis. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who is known as the jewel amongst all the Vaishnavas, is describing Krishna as a jewel amongst all males. And decorating the golden bodies with the dark blue gems of your limbs. Beautiful metaphorical descriptions of Krishna. The gopis were always a little bit mad at Krishna's flute. And they were saying, in one way, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, describes the gopis as questioning, what great pious activities did this flute perform that he's always associating with Krishna? Day and night, he's always drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips, or he's always with Krishna. By his abode is the hands of Krishna. What great pious activities did this flute perform? In fact, Radharani addresses the flute, written in the Vidagdha Madhava. He says, "My dear flute, you seem to be very pious. You're the son of the trees and the rivers. You seem to be very pious. Why have you taken initiation into this dangerous mantra which is bewildering the minds of chaste housewives of Vrindavan?" You're bewildering their minds. Why are you taking initiation into this dangerous mantra? The flute, although male, is always drinking from the lips of the supreme male, Krishna. How is it possible when in fact the lips of Krishna are the property of the gopis? And yet the flute is there challenging the gopis. I dare you, I challenge you to come to the forest and drink the nectar of Krishna's lips. This is all described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the gopis were wondering, what great austerities and tapasyas and yagyas and pious activities did this flute perform to always be residing and drinking the nectar of Krishna's lips? We would like to perform those austerities too, and those pious activities. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also describes that in another way the gopis were going, who is this flute? What pious activities did he perform that he's always associating with the lips of Krishna? Who is this guy? Who is this flute? In that way they were, chiding Krishna's flute. Like, who is this flute? What pious activity? Look at us, we performed so many pious activities. They were always dancing with Krishna, always running to Krishna, having pastimes with Krishna. Who is this flute? In this way, different ways are being described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur regarding the flute of the Lord. So we'll stop there. And if there's any comments, Prabhu? or questions?
So we're hearing so much nectar pastimes about Krishna and the gopis' remembrance of Krishna and full absorption, but trying to assist in Prabhupada's movement in living in a community and finding challenges and difficulties to be humble sometimes, in order to, be responsible to execute your duties, whatever it might be, whether you're on Sankirtan or temple commander or what to speak of other positions. So how do we always remember Krishna, but at the same time have to take care of material responsibilities, not material, but responsibilities in connection with our service to our spiritual master?
That's a good question. Of course, Prabhupada said if you're thinking about your service, you're cooking sweet rice for Krishna, and you're thinking about making nice sweet rice for Krishna, it's absolute. You're thinking Krishna. But, of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna does say, think of me in the form of my form, my transcendental form. So we know that it's described in Krishna book that the gopis are always thinking of Krishna, although they were home with their children and their husbands. So the mind is always full of thought. The mind is full of sound, and there's a screen called the third eye. The mind has a screen. So throughout the day, the mind is constantly, as Narottam Das Thakur says in one of his songs, that there's constant sound in the mind, constant sound. I wonder this, I wonder that. What's this, when's this, what, where, when? So simply have to place the mind on Krishna, deity worship. Tripurari used to tell us, when you're out there doing books, you do Sankirtan yoga. You did the whole morning program, you worship the deity, Rukmini Dwarkadish in LA, or here we have Radha Samasundar. So when you're out there, when you're doing your duty, you can think of the deity, Krishna and Radha on the altar. And Kapila Dev says that the yogis, they're always meditating on the beautiful smiling face of Vishnu. And this smiling face acts like a bolt of lightning which strikes the mountain of sin stored within the minds of the aspiring yogis. So Bhakti Yoga means to engage your mind. Like, what is Krishna doing? Is he doing something that really unimaginable? No. He's having fun in the Yamuna River. He's herding cows. He's playing with calves in the courtyard of Maharaj Nanda. His complexion is darkish like a blue rain cloud. And he has 2 arms, 2 legs. And he's beautifully dressed. Every day Mother Yashoda dresses him in golden dhoti with beautiful ornaments. And he wears a Vaijayanti garland, which is made of 5 different types of flowers. And these descriptions are all there. He's a master of many different languages. He speaks to the parrots. He's speaking to the cows. He's calling the cows by individual names. In this way, your mind is meditating on the Supreme Absolute Truth. Brahma Bhuta Prashanat Mana Sochatina Kankshati. Mamchaya Vyabhicharana Bhakti Yogana Sagunan Samatityaitan. So Brahma Bhuta is not just some void. It is actually all the activities of the Lord, herding cows. But it's spiritual activities. So, yes, try to engage the mind, as Krishna says, Machita. Machita, be conscious of me. Be conscious of Krishna. Or if we offer prayers to Krishna, like we're out there on Sankirtan, or we're out there doing management or whatever, and sometimes we can pray, Krishna, how can I solve this problem? So we engage our mind by praying. We engage our mind by remembering the deity form of the Lord. The Lord is standing on the altar. Of course, the 6 Goswamis, like at the Radha Damodar temple or Radha Raman, they saw the activities of the Lord going on the altar. They're like Mahabhagavats, their eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. But for us, the Lord is appearing in his Archa Vigraha, and we can remember him in that form, holding his flute. We can't hear the flute playing, but it's going on. It's entering in the ears of the Brijbasis of Vrindavan. So like that, the Lord is very personal. Therefore, the prayer we offer to Prabhupada, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, that he's delivering us in the Western world, or the foreign countries, from Nirvishesha Shunyavads, voidism and impersonalism. That he's a very, very, very personal being, the Supreme Lord. And he's asking us, simply try to remember me in your daily activities. I mean, that's why Prabhupada gave us Krishna book. Krishna is killing Putana. He, she took him in her arms, and she had poison on her breasts, and she's trying to breastfeed him, and he sucks the life air out of her body. There you go. And then he's playing on her body. And Mother Yashoda is running. Where's my Krishna? Where's my Krishna? Our Mother Yashoda is cooking for Krishna, boiling milk or making some different preparations for Krishna. So that is thoughts of Vrindavan. Narottam Das Thakur speaks about this in one of his songs that we sing. You know, when will my mind always be absorbed in the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord? So we can practice. Try to remember the Lord. Or his avatars, Lord Nrsingadev.
So like Krishna is telling Arjuna, Krishna is saying, Mam Anusmara Yudacha, that Krishna is telling Arjuna, Mam Anusmara Yudacha, that
Mam Anusmara Yudacha.
That you
My Arpitamanobhudir, yeah.
think of me, and at the same time fight.
Sure.
So, also fighting is remembering of Krishna always. So
Arjuna's a warrior. We probably want us to be, he wanted to create a class of Brahmins or preachers. So we're also warriors. Our war is, our weapons are Prabhupada's books and the holy name, the weapon of the holy name, and devotional service, the weapon of devotional service. That's what our tools of war are, our weapons are. Arjuna, he was serving Krishna by being a Kshatriya. But Prabhupada wanted to create some preachers, some how to change the world. Tadvad visargo janataga viplavo yasman pratishoka abhitavati. That this Srimad Bhagavatam, these words, create a revolution within the lives of this world's misdirected civilization. That is described in the first canto. So we're creating a revolution, spiritual revolution. We're changing the lives of this world's misdirected civilization, which is overwhelmed by not just impersonalism and voidism, but actually by atheism. People are very atheistic, even if they say, well, I go to church and so on. Many of these religions, they don't accept God as a person. So it's a kind of atheism. It's impersonalism. So our business is to transform, and the powerful Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is destined to change the world. And we're part of it. We're part of Lord Chaitanya's army. And we shouldn't allow ourselves to leave the army. Don't go AWOL. We want to stick with it with great determination and enthusiasm and confidence. We want to continue serving the great acharyas and our spiritual masters and go on fighting the fight and change the world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already predicted it. We don't have to worry about that. It's going to happen. It's going to happen in America, Africa, India, Russia, everywhere, South America. It's going to change the whole world. Do we want to be part of it? Yes. Very simple process. Chant Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, you're saying something? So, do our service, whatever guna and karma is. We all have different qualities and talents, but try to remember Lord Krishna. And chanting Hare Krishna locks the mind into Krishna also. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Boo. Boo again.